More economists think America is headed for a recession, but some experts think it's more than just the economy that's the problem.
Yeah, joining us now is former White House advisor Stephen Studdert to tell us about his book, America in Danger. And you're outlining some of the problems that we've got in our country, nationally and internationally. And so, I mean, why do you think we are in danger right now?
You know, I spent the better part of 4 decades serving in the corridors of power in Washington, D.C., and I saw a lot of things that I couldn't talk about, and now I can. And I think we're headed for a perfect storm, a convergence of problems that, unfortunately, political leaders haven't had the political courage to deal with. And they're coming at us from a number of directions, and they're coming all at once. And if 2 or 3 of them hit at the same time, we're in for an economic tsunami.
And you talk about one of the chapters, the ostrich. Do we not realize really just how bad we are?
I think we have no idea how bad we are. If you look at our national debt, which we say is $9 trillion, when you add all of the other obligations in this country to that, there's $60 trillion of debt, which means your household has $1 million of debt obligation hanging over it. You add to that somewhere between $50 and $75 trillion of unfunded Social Security and Medicare obligations. Where's the money going to come from? We don't have it. Currently, we're borrowing from China and other countries at a rate of $3 billion a day just to fund our government operations. I could go on, but we do have our heads in the sand.
You talk about some of the things that are physical dangers, social dangers, economic dangers. So, I mean, are they all driven because of what a lot of people are worrying about right now with the recession?
No, there's a number of other dangers that are really out there on the horizon and not to concern us. Islamic fundamentalism. Roughly 10% of the Muslim world is in a fanatic perspective. And they say very openly they need to destroy the United States of America. We look at the bird flu that's developing now in over 70 countries. If you look at the epidemic of flu in 1918, which killed millions of people around the world, it had a 5% mortality rate. Of the migration of the bird flu from birds to humans, it's so far had a 68% mortality rate. And you listen to the leader of the World Health Organization, he said it will happen, it's a question of when, and we have no vaccine. You look at immigration insanity. That's not related to economics necessarily, and yet we spend roughly $70 billion a year on health care costs for illegals. Those things added together add up to an enormous issue, and regrettably, political elected officials today, for the most part, and there are some wonderful, faithful, devoted ones, but for the most part, I think they're more concerned with political correctness instead of political courage.
And since we're naming problems, we can't forget about our addiction to oil. It's in there in your book as well, right?
We have an addiction to oil, and if we think about who we're dependent upon, we've surrendered our future to Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Venezuela, and Nigeria, none of whom are true friends and none of whom are stable. Is that where we want to surrender our future?
So with the political season the way it is right now, who is best out of the candidates out there? And I know if you can go
Putting
here.
me on the spot.
Yeah, if you can go here, which candidates may be able to get us out of most of these dangers?
I'm not sure any of them can, because I think the system may be irreparably broken. If you look at Washington, D.C., and I served there over years when there was collegial harmony on both sides of the political aisle, and today there's not. It is a broken system, and until the citizenry rises up and demands that Washington behave and conduct the affairs of business, I'm not sure any of them can.
But how do you do this? Because, I mean, you probably don't want to sound like an alarmist. Obviously, you believe these are really serious problems, but what direction do we need to head then? Where do we go?
Well, I think we need to reinstall fiscal responsibility in the government. Currently, we spend like we're drunken sailors at the federal level. And that's not a prescription for success in the future. The Comptroller General, David Walker, says that we're at a point where very soon we're either going to have to cut spending by 50% or double taxes. And I don't know that the political courage exists to do either of those things. And ultimately, then, something has to happen.
Well, is there anybody in the White House that's talking about these things and acknowledging these things right now?
Oh, yes. I was in Washington, D.C. last week. I'll be there again tomorrow. They talk about it. But unfortunately, I'm not seeing at the White House, in the administration, or in Congress, on either side, the political will to fix these issues or to even deal with them. We're spending time on steroid issues, steroid use by baseball
players,
pitchers.
sports.
Exactly. When there are more fundamental issues that relate to the infrastructure and the future of America. You look at what's happening with Social Security and Medicare, it's frightening. Realize that beginning this year, 78 million baby boomers begin to retire. Most of the pension funds are in jeopardy. Somebody's got to step up, and the ones who have to step up really are the citizens. We're the ones for whom the politicians work. We need to step up and say, hey, wait a minute. We want some answers, and we want them now.
All right.
We need to hold them accountable.
Stephen Studdert, your book is called America in Danger, and perhaps it'll be a wake-up call.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate it very much.
Thanks,
Good to see you.
Thanks, Gary.
Let's go out to Big